Welcome to, or welcome back to Forgiven and Rethemed. We're your hosts, Casey
and Sean, and today we are spookily continuing our 2024 Halloween season with another haunted attraction, one very near and dear to our heart, Gainesville Fear Garden. This is their third year. So this kind of ties into where have we been the last, 6 months?
Yes.
During the off season of finishing season 1 and now?
Yeah, I guess 6 months.
Yeah. So we are now kind of collaboration partners with Gainesville Fear Garden.
Yeah.
So we have our own kind of haunt within their facility. And we also got the opportunity to collaborate with them for the 2024 kind of summer, Campfire Nights?
Yeah, Campfire Nights.
Yep, Campfire Nights, kind of redoing the bar, redoing some of the layout of the spaces to make it a little more welcoming, inviting, as well as opening a semi-escape room called Private Experiment in part of the bar, and then also getting a chance to work with them for the main event this year for Halloween. And it has been a ride.
Yes, it's been exhausting, but I think
well worth it.
Yeah, I think we've actually grown to really enjoy going there and being a part of it, and volunteering our time to help out, but also being a partner with them.
Yeah, it's not just give us some little tasks and maybe we can do it.
Yeah, we're actually running our business too while they're running their business, and then we're helping each other out with both of our businesses. So
yeah, I think
it's been a good collaboration so far.
Rising tide lifts all ships. Definitely comes around every time we're there.
Yep.
So, how's today gonna go? Since we're a little biased with
it's gonna be
this.
So it's gonna be a little bit different because we are so involved in this haunt, and it's just gonna be a little bit different of a review, but
yeah, it's not so much like we think they did this well or this poorly like we do with other haunts where we can give kind of a very objective approach of what we've seen in comparison.
Right.
This one, as much as we'd like to think, we're always going to do things the right way the first time, I think this season already, because they opened in September 1st, it's taught me a lot about you've got to listen to the customers. You've got to see what's working, what's not, and not be afraid to change it when you already feel like you're sucked out of time. You just kind of have to push it and make it work. And they've changed it, I would say, 4 or 5 times. Pretty big changes.
We've changed it.
Well, yeah.
Together.
Yeah.
So it's not like a review like we've done before. Like, we'll go through the haunt and be like, oh, well, this was really cool. I mean, most of the stuff we helped them create,
we feel like is pretty cool.
Yeah, so it's not like we're like, I haven't even been through the maze or the haunt at all. Mostly because I'm pregnant and I don't want to be blindfolded.
Halloween Horror Nights was your
I just don't want to be blindfolded because I don't trust anybody to
guide you
guide
and not
me.
push you over.
Right, exactly. So
I haven't seen many people actually fall over this season.
That's good.
Because most every night I'm there, I'm able to kind of see the behind the scenes. I get to talk with the actors, check in with the staff, and kind of make sure everything's running smoothly.
Yeah.
Which is also a very strange thing for me.
Yeah.
To kind of have that responsibility of just being able to help out, hey, a light over there isn't working, or it's really dark over here. Can you, what can we do? Can we put something up? Sure, let me go get the ladder, and the next group is going to be walking through in about 10 minutes. So, I mean, if it's a safety thing, we've got to do it.
Yeah.
There's not an option where you can say no. It's, well, I can do this short term and this long term.
Right.
So, I think another part of this today is almost going to be like a promo for Gainesville Fear Garden.
I think so too.
We're always every haunt is always wanting more and more ticket sales. And I think this is no different. We're looking at it from the business side of things now. So as much as we like to focus on the creative, the storytelling, the effects, the lighting, we also have to look at it as a marketing opportunity. We've gone through the city of Gainesville as much as we can kind of on certain days and passed out flyers. We've talked to businesses. Hey, can we collaborate with you guys? We'll hang up some of your stuff if you'll hang up some of ours.
Yeah, it's definitely something you have to do, especially in like such a small little like
Gainesville is kind of a
Gainesville is kind
small,
of
close-knit
small.
town.
It is because it's a college town and like
Yeah.
there's
If you
students
make a bad
involved.
connection, like
Yeah.
that can come back and literally haunt you.
Exactly. And word of mouth is actually works really well
Huge.
too.
Yeah.
But
Much better than social media, it seems. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
yeah, so very thankful for the students that are involved at UF, so that they can, kind of get some other people involved too, and buy tickets and come and check it out.
Yeah. So how are we going to break down this episode?
Just hit the microphone. So our first topic is going to be on like dates and tickets and pricing. But I just wanted to kind of say exactly, not exactly what it is, but like what they have on their website.
Yeah.
About who Gainesville Fear Garden is. So it says, if you survive, there's a spooky lounge at the end with beer, themed cocktails made with 24% ABV wines, and an all-new mocktail. Plus private experiments, horror movies in our theater, scary story bingo, and table games. So it's not just a haunted house. There's tons of stuff to do. You could easily spend a couple of hours there at, on a date or all night if you really want to.
Yeah, it's a good kind of family hangout, couples hangout, just group of friends hang out.
Yeah.
I feel like every night when we finish the haunt and finish private experiments, we still have a group hanging out. And very, very rarely do I hear us, kick them out or be like, hey, we're really going to wrap it up.
Yeah.
Most of the guests have been really understanding of, I think I'm the last group here. Maybe maybe we should head out because it's 11:30.
Right, yeah. They lose track of time, I guess, on their
Yeah, because
awesome date.
It is a whole vibe
It is,
to hang out there.
Oh, for sure. It's like a speakeasy or a spookeasy, but it's like, I don't know. You just got to check it out. You'll see.
Yeah.
But the dates for this year, they run from September 1st to November 2nd. Open every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday in October, with select Wednesday and Thursday nights as we get closer to Halloween. And I think
that's starting
this week.
Yeah, the week.
Wednesday,
that this
Thursday, Friday,
comes out.
Saturday, Sunday.
Yeah.
So you have plenty of time to check us out. And the hours are from 7 to 11:30. And I think weeknights they close at 10.
Yeah. And then if there's a big gap at the end, usually ticket sales will be shut down just because you don't want to keep staff there for an hour if nobody's bought times in the later evenings. So if you buy tickets, try to get there early, try to book them in advance for sure. If you want to choose one of the later times, that's perfectly fine. As long as you do it in advance, we kind of have that understanding. We can talk with the staff. Hey, we do have a full night tonight, which is a great problem to have, really.
Yeah, it's fun when it's a full night. It goes by fast too.
Yes.
And there's also a ton of walk-ins. So if you want to walk in and buy a ticket, you can too. If you don't want to if you just want to check it out and you want to see what kind of the vibe is, then that's perfectly fine too. And you don't have to go through the maze to get to the bar or play games or anything like that.
Hang out in the bar. If you wanted to do just the private experiment, you could do that. You could just come in, watch the movie, play games. You can kind of do whatever you want.
Yeah. And then the prices are general admission. It ranges from $15 to $28, depending on what night you choose. And Halloween night is going to be $31.10, which is
October 31st.
Yeah.
That's cool. That's clever.
And then our private experiment mini haunt add-on, it's a long title, is $6 if you book online, but if you book or if you buy it at the attraction, then it's $8.
A funny joke came up last night while you weren't there. So I was talking with Jane and Garrett because they're the two research assistants, RAs, right?
RAs, yeah.
Yeah. They're the two research assistants that typically run private experiments because a lot of their, I think they're doing a whole paper on data collected specifically from that experience.
Yeah.
And because our sign is missing some letters, purposefully,
Yeah.
Jane started adopting the name primate experiments since one of the finale sounds actually has a chimpanzee in it.
That's funny.
It is really funny.
Primate experience.
She drew a whole like note card visual like cartoon thing, and it's very clever.
That's
I really
cute.
enjoyed it. It's cool.
It's very funny. And then back to the pricing, the discount codes pop up every so often, so just keep checking. Social media, sometimes they'll add in a coupon code to make it a little bit cheaper for you.
Yep. And apparently there are also Groupons.
Really?
Yeah. Found that out this past weekend.
Did not know that.
Nope. Me
I don't know that I
neither.
ever. I mean, I've used Groupon for
We used
select
to use
thing.
it a lot.
I know we did.
We went through a heavy use
But
phase.
it's like hit or miss. I always get so like if I'm like going to a salon or something, and I like, oh, I'm here with a Groupon, and it's kind of like,
Who
what?
uses Groupons anymore?
Yeah,
Right.
exactly. It's not like a thing anymore, but that's interesting.
Yeah.
So what's next on our hot topics?
Next, we're going to go through the Haunted Maze walkthrough, AI House of Horrors.
Yeah, so it's a lot different than it was back, well, last year. What was last year?
Last year was the Haunt Lab.
Yeah, which was really cool. But they decided to go with AI this year, so
Yes.
it's a little different. It's not like
It's not a stereotypical
not.
Halloween haunted house theme.
no, but
So
it does have some certain aspects of
Oh, absolutely.
like we'll go into it, but
Yeah. Do you have a like a synopsis, a storyline, or anything like that? A summary of the haunted house maze?
no.
What? Do you really not?
I mean, I've just been so like I mean, is it on their website?
I thought you did these notes.
Oh, Duncan. Sorry.
I think Duncan's gonna try to figure out what it is.
Yeah.
There may not be a lot of
I don't think-
information online, to be completely honest.
I don't think so because I don't think they wanted to. I don't know. Like, there is no, like, synopsis for AI House of Horrors.
Okay.
I don't think there's a story or anything
So
like
there
that.
is a story, but I don't
No,
think
I don't
it's
think that it's
as customer facing or guest facing.
correct.
But there's absolutely
still-
a full storyline
Oh, yeah.
that
An intense.
has set the theming for this entire event,
Yeah.
which is incredible.
And it's still sensory deprivation, so you get the goggles, you get the headphones.
not the whole time,
Not the whole time.
but enough for it to still be fun and
Right.
impactful.
Right. And I think that that's something that we together tried to kind of alleviate, to do something different at
And-
first.
And then come to turn out, or come to
to
find
turn-
out, come to find out, that's most people's favorite part.
Right. And it's my favorite part. So I
Right.
completely understand where people are coming from.
Yeah.
And it's like, because it's different. It's not your typical, like, just walking through a maze and getting scared.
Right.
So,
I think
I
it's
think that's
almost
what
important to
sets them
keep
apart.
that core component of it for them, because that's kind of what they've built their reputation around
Yeah.
and their experience around.
and then also the survey part of it, because they
Yeah.
are, doing research for psychology and things like that. So they do have to kind of do like a storyline in that sort of like mindset of
Yeah, the survey questions kind of match not necessarily the theming of the event, but the background of what the research is actually trying to figure out or
Yeah.
find out.
yeah.
So we'll keep kind of the synopsis very vague as well. It is AI House of Horrors. There are key characters. Some of the key characters are the company that, in this storyline, created this new AI. And the name of the company is Qualia Core Systems. And they created what's called MEL, Metacognitive Entropy Loop. And Mel is this AI figure, kind of compare her to Alexa or Siri or things like that. And what kind of happens is Mel almost comes alive and becomes like, I think my favorite comparison is like Terminator almost.
Yeah, that's what
It's
I
like
think of it.
Terminator, iRobot. If you're a 90s kid, maybe you remember Smart House.
Yeah.
I love the movie.
Yeah.
And it's kind of all spawning from Apple releasing their Apple Intelligence this year with the iPhone 16. So it all kind of plays around that aspect. ChatGPT is becoming super popular now. AI is just becoming a huge component of personal lives, of businesses, all across the
Can I
board.
just say I do not like AI?
A lot of people don't.
I
And
don't.
that's why this was such a good theme on one side. But on the flip side, a lot of people are genuinely scared about the real life ramifications of AI becoming so
Yeah,
prevalent.
it is scary because you don't know what you can trust anymore because
Exactly.
you don't know if you're talking to a robot or a person.
You don't know if images are real or not.
I know, which is crazy,
Like
especially for Hollywood.
Hollywood, politicians, like right
Yeah.
now is such a weird and unique time,
Mhm.
which we could go off the rails
Oh yeah.
talking about conspiracy theories and what's real, what's fake, what you should vote on, what this means, what that means. And it would just snowball out of control because
Mhm.
of AI, social media, elections coming up. Literally everything is
Yeah.
all kind of coming to a head and clashing right now. So I think a lot of that is probably decreasing the amount of attendance at haunted houses,
I agree.
and even more so, probably at ones that are such a real life topic.
Right. Yeah, I agree. And it's I just want to go back to like dial up
2006.
dial up AOL. Like
Yes.
I just want to like
Yeah, give me AOL, give me Neopets
T9
again.
Neo, yeah, just simple
Yeah.
times. I'm tired of this.
You know what? Just put me back in middle school.
Like in college, like they don't even like
College was
write their
okay.
own papers anymore. No, I'm saying like
Oh,
now.
yeah.
They don't even write their own papers anymore. They
Yeah.
just cheat. And I think it's cheating.
Yeah, I
It
mean,
literally is. It's being so lazy. I could go on, but
yeah, they still have to edit it, I think,
yeah,
when
but
they use
very
ChatGPT.
little.
Depending on the versions of ChatGPT,
I don't know.
some of them are free and don't necessarily cross all their T's, dot all their I's figuratively. But there are paid ones. And it would not surprise me if a lot of kids are paying that subscription or that fee, whatever it is, in order to get that extra bit of editing or extra bit of complexity. But yeah, it's a crazy world we live in.
Ridiculous.
So this is a very realistic topic. So without going, so I got off track.
Sorry.
So Qualia Core Systems developed this AI profile kind of called Mel. Mel comes alive, becomes cognitive, starts realizing she has full control over everything, and starts kind of essentially killing people is the behind the scenes storyline, and collecting these body parts to create her own body
Yeah.
so that she can kind of break out of the machine, break out of the computer, break out of the software, and become a living human. So it's kind of like Smart House mixed with Frankenstein. Mel is trying to create her own body and taking all of these living factors from other living humans. So, in that same kind of storyline, you've probably got a resistance group. In this story, there's PACT, PACT, People Against Cognitive Technology. You've got to think about how Mel is actually going to store the body parts. If you just kill a bunch of people, those body parts aren't necessarily usable for a while. So, like Frankenstein dug them up, yada
Yeah.
yada. In this world, we have a little bit more technology. We have freezers, we have refrigerators, things that they didn't have during that time
Right.
as cost effective. So, in this day and age, Mel would ideally freeze the body parts, just like Walt Disney's head.
That is not true.
I
but-
beg to differ at the conspiracy topic for another day.
Oh
I
my
think
god.
I think there's some truth to
We
that.
need to do a episode
do.
on conspiracy theories.
We do, but not to get off track. So Mel would ideally store these body parts in some sort of a freezer facility. She would then maybe kind of put these body parts back together, almost like a Child's Play 3 type of factory. Was it 3 or 2? Now I'm thinking maybe that was 2.
I don't know.
Whichever one, I think it's 2. I'm going to look that up whenever we switch talking so much.
Okay.
It's either 2 or 3, I know that. So Mel would put these pieces of body parts together to create her body. You know, some of them fit, some of them don't. So you're going to toss out the rest. um, all of this is still in the storyline of research. You know, you're doing pre-surveys, but instead of it necessarily going to research, it is wrapped up in a present kind of disguising itself as you're doing, you're kind of teaching Mel how to become Mel, how to become more advanced, how to become more human like.
Mm-hmm.
So you're giving your actual reactions to the computer.
Yeah.
And then in the original storyline, it was okay, well, now we're going to throw you into an AI generated haunted house. Kind of a, you know, a stereotypical, what do people like? Well, people like raves, haunted houses. Well, you know, every haunted house has a graveyard. So what if we made this like a fun party? Because computers, AI, they don't really understand why humans want to be scared.
Yeah.
So I think it's really difficult for an AI to write a horror movie or write a horror story. So for them, they think people want to be happy and want to be entertained. So they kind of take a haunted mansion approach
Mm-hmm.
in the last scene of like a grave rave, literally,
Yeah.
where you're going through all these neon um, blacklight images and collages and murals, and you're actually going through this weird AI version of a graveyard. So you've got this rave music in the background, but you're in a graveyard, and then there's actors scaring you, and then there's this and there's that.
Yeah, it's a
All
lot going on.
while Mel is kind of slowly being overthrown by this pact group of kind of a resistance to AI.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the overarching storyline, I would say, without getting into the nitty gritty details, which I feel like I already did.
Right.
But that's kind of,
Whatever.
I wanted to explain all of that so that when we talk about like what's changed already,
Yeah.
and when we're halfway through the season, you understand, you know, these are all the different rooms that we had initially. And then we, you know, we talked internally, we talked to guests, we looked at reviews, which is never fun. And I didn't
No.
realize until this year. And you just kind of have to spin on a dime and go, all right, that's not working, cut it.
Yep.
And leave your pride at the door, leave any of your personal experience with it at the door. You know, what if we made a really cool room and we were so proud of that, but people don't have the same impact from it?
Right.
Well, it
Yep.
doesn't
Well,
matter.
then it's not going to work.
It cuts.
Yep.
You have to move on to the next idea.
Mm-hmm.
So it made me really respect people at like Universal Creative doing Halloween Horror Nights, because I wonder how many of them have these amazing, incredible concepts and get down the road a little bit and go, that's not going to work, is it?
Yeah.
Nope,
People
sure
aren't
isn't.
going to like that. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that's true. We did happen to have to change. Not a lot, but
It's
know.
substantially different
yeah,
than where it started.
for sure.
And to give more context, we all sat around and got the kind of official presentation and pitch for this year mid-July.
I don't even remember.
I think it was early to mid-July, because I remember the time frame was we had 6 weeks
Okay, yeah.
to go from a warehouse that was full of stuff
Oh.
from the previous season and from the Easter
Yes.
event, all the way to we have to clear all of this out. We have to put up walls. We have to put up effects. We have to put up lighting, flooring. We have to make it ADA accessible. We have to put fire exits. We have to do literally everything because it's not an existing haunt maze.
Right, you literally
We had to
had to
create
start
it.
from scratch.
Right. So we did it. I don't know how. Those 6 weeks were an absolute blur. It was, I would say, 4 to 5 nights out of the week. We'd go
Yeah.
there, including very, very late nights Friday, all day Saturday, all day Sunday. You know, the people came out of the woodwork to help. I think we had a phenomenal team that
I wish
contributed.
I wish I could have helped more, but
I know,
it was in the
but
dead heat of summer,
and you're pregnant.
and I'm pregnant, and I can't.
I think you did everything you could.
I hope so.
You
'cause
did
I
a lot
felt
of the
bad.
signage. You still maintained the ability to do tasks that you could,
Yeah.
while doing it inside and not having to move heavy things.
Right. Yeah.
So yeah, I think you were just as
Because I
helpful,
remember
just in a different
how
way.
crazy it was when we did it here,
Yeah.
and it's like it's so much work,
Yeah.
and every person helping makes a huge difference. So
Yes. Absolutely. So what were your kind of favorite parts of the haunt itself, of just the AI House of Horrors? We'll talk
so
about private experiments a little
so I really
later.
like the grave rave. I think that it was because I love like the neon lights
Mm-hmm.
and everything is like I don't know, it's just fun. It's
Yeah.
just but also like there's a lot of stuff in your face, so you never know what's gonna pop out.
Yes,
Um,
absolutely.
and I haven't actually gone through it, but I've gone through it just walking through it and seeing if things were, you know, not up to par, but like, seeing if I could change anything or seeing if I had like any input on anything.
Yeah.
And for safety reasons, obviously, which I found a lot of stuff.
Yes.
And I'm like, hey, that no, you need to put something there. You need to remove this cord because I just almost tripped over it.
Mm-hmm. And we do,
But
because of that, we do nightly walkthroughs
mhm,
both before the event as well as after to kind of go through, make a checklist, see if we need to do anything, clean anything, touch
yep.
up anything. There's not a lot of touch up things. A lot of it's just making sure aisles are clear,
Yeah,
trash
because
is
stuff
picked
gets
up.
moved and, people bump stuff and everything like that.
Mm-hmm.
But no, I think the grave rave room is, or the maze is really cool. I love the new addition of the, what's it called? It's on my
The
notes. Let me just look at my notes. The statue scares.
Yes.
So the statue scare, actually, that was my idea. I don't know if you've taken over
So we did it.
that.
We have 3 different statue scares
I
now.
know, but the one that, like,
The one in the White Room.
mm-hmm.
Yeah. Was that your idea?
Yes.
I
I said, why
I
don't
don't take
we?
credit for it. I just take credit for the strobe and the audio
Well,
in
I didn't
there.
come up with the strobe and audio. That was somebody else.
That was us.
Okay. Well, I said, hey, we need a statue scare room.
Yeah.
And I
Because we
was
had
like,
it in the mausoleum and it didn't
it didn't quite fit.
work the way we were intending. It
No.
works, but in a different way.
Yeah. But this room is freaking scary.
Yeah.
It's one of the
It's the
most
most intense room.
I can't focus in there. I can't even walk in there.
No, even the actors they're only in there while a group is going in and then they
Yeah.
step right back out.
Right. It's
Yeah.
a lot.
It's very, very intense.
But I mean, I think it gets people, so.
Yeah.
I can't think of anything else. I mean, we changed a lot with at the beginning, there wasn't a lot of guiding and sensory deprivation. So
Yeah, the
we had
sensory
to change
deprivation
that.
was at the end in the
Yeah.
initial iteration.
Which was weird.
It was strange and it did make it logistically more difficult
Mm-hmm.
because you're almost kind of cutting people in the middle of a storyline and having to onboard them, which is a strange process only because it's different than previous years.
Mm-hmm.
So everybody expects to do it at the beginning. So when you do it at the end, you're like, well, why didn't you just start out with this? The storyline
Yeah.
made sense for it, but I think people weren't picking up on that part of it. So they were kind of internally rejecting it and didn't understand the creative aspect.
Yeah.
But now, I mean, it works because it was changed.
I mean, when we first started off, and I did go through it
Hmm.
because it wasn't like, I wasn't blindfolded the whole time. It was boring.
Yeah.
And I think that's a lot of the feedback we got was like,
Yeah.
wasn't scary, wasn't boring,
Right.
or it wasn't fun. I was bored. So we were like, okay, well, let's just
Figure out what
figure
did
out
work
what did work.
and
Yeah.
figure out what we can do to make what wasn't working again.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I do want to do a huge shout out to Master Builder Camp.
Oh, yeah.
Liz and Harmony are the 2 individuals that run that. I believe it's a summer camp. They do kind of crafts for kids, both on a small scale as well as a large scale. They have a huge staff that help them with that for those camps.
Mm-hmm.
They did, I would say, 100% of the theming and the set dressing and all of that for a Grave Rave.
Yeah,
They
it's
did the photo
amazing.
op at the end and the beginning for the big pumpkin.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
They did the blackout tunnel. Like, they did so much. Phenomenal. There's a big moon
Oh yeah,
that's
so cool.
full, like, foam carving. It
Yeah.
looks phenomenal.
I think that was my favorite part when I first
Knocked
walked
out in,
through.
like, a day.
Yeah, I
Like,
know.
it's,
It's
yeah,
crazy.
all of their set design is incredible. Their murals are all them, hand painted. Um, yeah, I don't think the event this year would have had the same presence and vibe without them.
No, I
I
completely
think they were
agree.
absolutely a key component.
Yep, for sure.
Um, so, do you have anything else before I dive into what the original walkthrough was and then how it changed a little bit?
No,
Okay.
go ahead.
So, in the original walkthrough, I'm going to kind of take you room by room and kind of give you what the room was supposed to do or explain.
All right.
So, first off, you would check in outside. They have kind of a covered carport. We were going to have a queue line out there with a bar and everything set up. Had a like an audio message playing, welcome to Quality Core Systems. Thank you for checking in. We're going to give you kind of an investor pitch of our new AI technology, Mel. And this is all kind of a business, almost like a venture capitalist type of thing, raising money to invest in increasing Mel's capacity to thrive, to be creative, to be its own thing. The first living AI. So after that, you would go into an onboarding room. It was meant to be kind of a very clean, sterile, medical-ish environment, startup vibes, things like that. In that, you're given kind of the safety breakdown. You're introduced to Quality Core Systems again. You're introduced to Mel. From there, you go into Terminal Room A, which is a bunch of computer survey stations. And then you're immediately sent into the Grave Rave under the guise of, we want to see you in your natural state of fear, and Mel is going to be observing you through cameras and picking up on when you're most vulnerable, when you're the most true to yourself. From there, at the end of Grave Rave, you go into a funeral room. I don't actually know what the purpose of the funeral room was. I don't know that it ever actually lived as specifically a funeral room when the haunt opened. I think that had already been disbanded, and the only thing that still makes it a funeral room is the fact that there's a casket in there.
Yeah, I think that's what they were like trying to go for. Is like we have these things.
Yes, everything this year was based on a cost analysis type of thing. Like,
what do we have? How can we make it fit?
Right, which they did a phenomenal job doing, but it was almost too many things.
Right, it's too much.
It almost had the same problem that the darkness had for me, where you have so many different things where this isn't a story anymore.
So many props. You're just putting it
just
in a
because
room.
you have it.
Yep.
Yeah. So the funeral room didn't ever quite make sense to me, but it had a lot of potential for jump scares and effects. So we were going to have like an organ in there that popped out fog. We were going to have something lifting up out of the casket, or the casket like shaking and moving. You were going to have to walk around it. So it was going to be a really cool jump somewhere in there.
Yeah.
After the funeral room, you would then go into Terminal Room B, which was the kind of this fake setup of a post-survey room. But instead of you doing the post-survey, you find out all the computers have been trashed, and the resistance group packed, people against cognitive technology, has been, like, they're overthrowing areas left and right. They're trying to shut Mel down, and they are just taking everything out. They're doing graffiti on the walls, everything. After that, you go into a laser tag room. A little unclear whether you're playing against zombies, whether you're playing against Pact, whether you're playing against Quality Core Systems.
Yeah, it
Again,
was
just
very
kind of
confusing.
a bit of a plot hole that was very difficult logistically to pull off, having laser tag as part of a walkthrough.
Yeah.
So all of the laser tags were actually mounted on a hub. They did not come off the hub. You just had to pick up the guns and shoot things around you because you were all in the middle of a room.
Which is very hard to do with a group of max
13.
of 13.
Yes.
So
But
yeah.
it worked. Well, it didn't work.
Not really.
But the laser tag system itself worked.
Oh, yeah.
Just very difficult logistically.
Yeah.
From the laser tag room, you would then go into a putt-putt room.
Which it makes no sense to me.
They have a lot of putt-putt equipment.
Exactly.
But yeah, there wasn't a huge narrative storyline in the putt-putt room.
No.
From what I remember.
It was more like, oh, you play a game. You're getting
right
studied on how you play putt-putt. I don't know.
It was strange looking back, but it makes sense now that it's been replaced with other stuff. From putt-putt, you go into kind of a back office where Mel comes back into the audio and asks you to sign your name on a sheet of paper, almost like pledging your allegiance, kind of like a Harry Potter, Tom Riddle writing in the diary, sign your name on the dotted line, deal with the devil type of thing. After that, you go into the freezer room where Mel is storing the frozen body parts to use later. And then after that, you go into the assembly room where the body parts are actually being assembled to make Mel's body. Then a pact member busts in, strobing, hey, you got to put on these goggles. We're going to tear gas this whole thing, and we got to get you guys out. And that was going to be the transition into the sensory deprivation portion. Very difficult to pull off that logistically as well with only one real actor. People don't follow directions super well.
No.
So asking guests halfway through the experience to say, hey, put on these goggles, they just don't do it.
Yeah, they're like, what?
And you can't force them to work quicker. So the audio still has to go. You can't trigger every little portion of the audio separately with the setup that we've got. So it was just very, very difficult. And then from there, you kind of go through the blindfold part of it, and then you're done.
Yeah.
If that sounded boring, it was. So then in the second and third version, every weekend we would kind of take out a portion and replace it with something that would work a little better, which is very nerve-wracking, leaving on a Friday night or a Saturday night and going, hey, tomorrow we're going to try something different, right? Yep, so we need to get there at like 8? Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah.
Alrighty, we'll be there.
Yeah.
So the first thing to go was putt-putt. The second thing to go was laser tag. We tried doing a transition point where people actually put on laser tag vests, played a game out in the open, and then took the laser tag vests off. Also, very difficult logistically. It didn't fit with the story. It didn't make any sense. I hate that we had to pack all the laser tag stuff away. But overall, I think it was a better idea to just take it out and scrap it.
I agree.
Also remove the funeral room like we talked about. And then the office scene where you're signing your name didn't fit the narrative as well as we all had kind of initially thought.
Yeah, it was confusing, and we got feedback like,
A lot of people were confused
like,
by
what?
a lot of it.
Yeah.
So, current status is... Status is check-in is inside the bar.
Yeah.
Because there's been, 2 hurricanes back-to-back, which is ludicrous.
Yeah, which, I mean, it helps now that we moved it inside so that...
It does.
We would have had to move it inside...
Every other week.
Yeah, it was ridiculous.
So check-in is inside the bar now. We took sensory deprivation, and it's now at the beginning of the experience. So you go out into the warehouse, you watch an onboarding video, you get taken to surveys, and then immediately while you're at the surveys, you are then blindfolded. It makes the logistical process way simpler, way easier.
Right, they're not confused.
Right, staff is happier because they have a little more control over it. So yeah, sensory deprivation, not going to ruin that, but you get led around some stuff, kind of the stereotypical what you would find at Gainesville Fear Garden with a couple extra sprinkles of effects in there added from previous years.
Yeah.
You still get to listen to a story. You still get sat down at some point. There's more story elements during that. And then after the sensory deprivation, which now encompasses the freezer room, the putt-putt room, the assembly room, the laser tag, the office. All of those areas are now part of the sensory deprivation walkthrough. So that's a lot of free real estate where that's a lot of free real estate where we can put props and put interacting elements for the, I keep wanting to say cast members, for the staff to actually interact with the guests. After all of the sensory deprivation stuff, you then go to the original onboarding room from like version 1, which is the white sterilized room.
Mm-hmm.
But now it's a statue scare room with a bunch of strobe and frozen body parts. And this is the only part of the haunt, other than the bar, that has AC.
Yeah.
It's not freezing in
It's
there,
not cold. It's not freezing.
but it is cool enough to make it semi-enjoyable while you're strobing out.
Yeah, so you don't want to be in there for long.
Very intense room.
Yeah, it's
We
crazy.
have two, I think 10-inch speakers in there that are almost on max volume, and they are loud. They shake the walls. We have a large metal shed in there that also shakes because one of the speakers is right behind it, and it's just a hollow metal cage.
The first time I went in there, I was like, nope, don't like this.
So that audio is completely custom. It was really, really fun to write. Then after that, you kind of have a little bit of a transition point with a couple of different options. So we've got Gigi, which is a clown. You have Esme, which typically does kind of a doll thing. Some nights we also have Steph. There's also a projector video that we can swap out if neither of them are there and nobody else wants to step up and kind of control that area. But that area is meant to kind of transition you between the strobe room and the grave rave. And the actor in that zone actually triggers with a push button the entire grave rave animation programmed sequence. So that the actors don't actually have to hear the uptick in volume of the grave rave audio all night long.
Right.
We have an ambient soundtrack that plays all the time to kind of keep your Halloween spooky vibes up for the actors, but then we have this that really goes above and beyond to put you in that grave rave environment audibly. After that, during the grave rave, you also hear Mel's voice kind of cutting in and out. That's kind of the part where she's still breaking down. That's still very much part of the storyline, but she's a little more interactive. She's begging for you to help her. She's begging for anybody to help her. But you can tell in her voice that she's just slowly starting to fade away and lose control over her own subconscious and being.
Right.
From there, you go through a sheet room, which is another statue scare. It's a lot of ghosts with sheets and headphones. They're meant to be Mel's victims that she has kind of stabbed somehow by controlling cords and wire and electricity and things of that nature. There's also a lot of sheets on the wall, and that was kind of inspired by the Insidious house at Halloween Horror Nights. Then you go through a blackout tunnel.
I don't think I've seen that.
You haven't seen... You might not have. I don't know that you've
I haven't been in the
room.
warehouse in a while, actually.
Okay, then yeah. And then the final one is a blackout tunnel with the final scare.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's the current iteration. Whether it's like that when you decide to go...
Who knows?
Who knows? It can change daily
but
sometimes.
it seems like it's working. And
it's working really, really well
and we're getting
right now.
a lot of good scares and good people and actually saying that they enjoyed it. So
yeah, for sure.
yeah. All right. So we're going to take a quick break, and then we are going to come back and talk about our portion of the haunt, and that is the
where
private.
we make the money.
Yeah, the private experiment. So we'll see you back in just a few minutes.
You betcha.
All right, so welcome back. So the private experiment part of this. So after the main event, you are able to try our bite-sized private experiment experience. You get 7 minutes in the shed. That's all it takes. Allow about 15 minutes total. A quirky collaboration with our dear friends at Modern Wigscraft.
That's
That's us.
us.
A perfect little epilogue for dessert. This is a limited run thing. It won't be around for long. I hope it is, but you never know. Ticket prices are up to 50% higher if you wait and buy in person. Add on now to get the cheapest possible price. And everybody needs their own ticket. So if you're buying 3 House of Horror tickets, you'll need 3 bonus mini haunt tickets too. So that's what it says when you go to checkout. So yeah, we've changed this one too.
We have, as of about a week ago.
So it started off, I mean, I think you did a great job. I mean, we both did with building it.
There's a lot of people that put in time and effort.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Both the building, the planning, the recording, the set dressing, the everything. I think everybody pitched in at some point.
Oh yeah.
Both family as well as everybody at Fear Garden.
Yeah. So you want to talk about the original concept?
Sure. So the original concept was kind of based around what's your behavior in terms of superstition. So in an escape room, what if you were blindfolded? What if you have buttons all along the walls? And we told you that you had to figure out a sequence of buttons together as a team in order to unlock the door. But you're blindfolded. So you have to figure out what buttons do what and how to press them in the right order based on these auditory cues. So if you hear a high-pitched beep, you're getting closer. If you hear a low-pitched beep, then you're getting further away. So first it was kind of testing that, and then it was, all right, take your blindfold off. All of that was fake. None of the buttons did anything to help you escape. It's still in our control. And with that, now you've got to look up, take your blindfold off, and push this emergency exit button to get to the final room. In this room, you would kind of go through the finale scare. You would go through the very last bit of the storyline of the bees and things like that. Let me go back to my notes. So in the original, the theming was very consciously restricted to containing actual items you would find in somebody's shed. The whole facade of it is a shed. It's full metal paneling on the outside. It looks like it's part of the building, but just kind of an added-on part.
Right.
So beehives were a big theme component of that. We had ambient audio that had bees in it. We had all sorts of things. We had actual beehives in there, just without the bees. And we had a mechanism that actually popped up from bee boxes. So it was all, we had a smoker in there that we wanted to run actual fog into, and it just became another very difficult issue to actually progress towards.
Would have been so cool, though.
We ran out of places to put a fog machine. We ran out of the piping that we could actually push the fog through. Then we had fire code issues, so we don't have fog in there anymore, and that's okay.
It's fine. It's whatever.
So yeah, what do you have from the original that you liked, didn't like? What were your thoughts?
I mean, I am biased, obviously.
Sure.
But it's still there. Is the mural or whatever, the walls, and how we made that into like a kind of greenhouse effect.
Yeah. We used joint compound on the walls on the inside to give it texture, to make it look like all these 4x8 wall sections were actually cohesive as one big wall.
Yeah, it's hard to make how many square foot was it?
96.
96. Small.
Very small.
Small area into an experience. Into anything, really. It's like a closet.
Anything that somebody would want to pay for.
Right. So we did our best with the space that we had. I think the final room is always going to be my favorite.
Sure.
Just because it has just a bunch of...
I didn't love it in the first iteration.
No, it was just, again...
It was a proof of concept to me that we could do a certain effect.
Right, and we kind of themed it to what we had.
Yeah, I mean, it was absolutely cost-driven. We had bee boxes. My we might as well use them.
Right, exactly. So, I like the current concept a lot better
I
because it
think
scares
everybody
people
does.
more,
Hmm.
and it's just more beefed up. It's more
Yes.
like gets in your face, and it's not like, that's kind of, whatever, you know?
Yeah.
So,
And a big reason why we did recently change it is because the research and the data showed
right,
people weren't really affected by it. Like it
right.
didn't.
And if you're wondering how, which was the question I was wondering,
Yeah.
I was like, how do they know? And they actually give you
Yeah. So
heart
part
rate
of
monitors.
part of Jane and Garrett's research was we want to have physical data
Mm-hmm.
and health data from people. So they actually bought these heart rate monitors. They have them hooked up to a program on a phone,
Mm-hmm.
and you wear the phone around your neck in a pouch. You have the heart rate monitors on your arm.
Mm-hmm.
They're scanned to an RFID when you do your survey, and then when you do your post survey, all of that's connected for their research. So they know the people that answered this, their heart rate went up to this.
Right.
And they actually see it fluctuate during the whole 7 to 10 minute experience.
Right, which is super cool to like know exactly
Yes.
like how scared you get. And
And it's kind of a
actually,
game.
yeah, it kind of is.
Like a
It
lot of
has
families
been.
are like, "Ooh, whose heart rate went higher? Who
Yeah.
got more scared?"
And you don't have to participate. This isn't like something that you have to do to go through the thing.
No, you do have to be over 18 in
Yes,
order to
you
participate.
can't well, you can still go through the thing without
Yeah, you just don't have the
being
research component.
right. Yeah, you're not like getting um, you know, buzzed. Not buzzed, but like, you're not
Yeah, you're not being tracked in terms of the RFID,
right.
the heart rate, any of that data.
Yeah.
They're not able to collect until you're of consenting
Right.
age.
So anyways, it's really cool concept that they came up with to kind of figure out like
Yeah,
are people
very,
actually getting scared during this or no?
very data driven,
Yeah.
and thank goodness because as antagonistic as I was about wanting to change it,
Yeah.
I mean, I'll admit that was a good idea. I was very stubborn, and had I not arrived on site and the biggest prop in the final room not been removed,
That's true.
I don't know that we would have changed it. But
Probably not.
it's changed now. It happened in less than 24 hours, and that's including re-recording the audio, re-recording the video, re-theming the entire final room with lighting, effects, set dressing, uh, ambient audio. Everything was redone in 24 hours.
Crazy.
And our timeline was we started Thursday night at about midnight. We stayed there till about 4 or 5 in the morning, and we both went home and slept. Both got up at like 8 or 9 in the morning the next day.
Not me. I just
No,
want to say that right now.
no, it was. I have to give credit where it's due. It was mostly Ken.
Yeah.
Like he re-recorded the audio. We sat down. We talked about what the new vision is. I tried to take as many things off of his plate so that he could still do the normal day to day because Friday night we had Oddities Market. Oddities
Yeah.
Market
Y'all decided to do
doesn't.
this at the greatest time.
Well, there's so many people that come through for Oddities
I know
Market
you wanted
where
it to be.
we want to have kind of that reopening and reinvigoration to where I mean, the best clientele of people we have come from Oddities Markets.
Yeah, which
They're
we
our
haven't talked
favorite
about
crowd,
yet. So,
right?
but we will.
So it was, we have 24 hours. Can we do it? The answer is always yes. We will do something. Whether it will be finished, I really hope so. So we opened, I think, an hour and a half late for private experiments
Yeah.
only. We only
Which
had
is
to
not bad,
refund, I
actually.
think, 2 people, which sucks, but I believe they got shirts. I know they got something more than just a refund.
Cool. I hope they come back and
Me too. But we made it happen. 24 hours. It's incredible how night and day difference it is. All new effects, all new audio, all new theming. Storyline is changed just enough to where it makes sense. But the final room changed, the onboarding video changed, literally the entire thing other than the front facade changed.
that's true.
Incredible.
Yeah.
So, do you want to talk more about the current concept? I feel like I've been talking a while.
Yeah. So the current concept, like you said, was done in like 24 hours, or less than 24 hours. So you've mentioned retheming the interior, re-recording the audio, and we had to remove the final TV or the final room and the TV
final.
in the final room because it was so bright and it was just like not working
Yeah,
with the whole
it didn't
story.
matter what lighting we did in there.
Yeah.
That ruined it.
Yeah. But the most important part was reprogramming an entire final sequence designed to actually raise your heart rate.
Yeah.
So in the previous one, if you play like a Jack in the Box theme,
Yeah.
like
Dun, 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 dun.
you're gonna know something's gonna happen.
Yeah, it's just like that slow vibration in a horror movie where you know something's coming and they
Yeah.
build it up. But Insidious
Yeah.
doesn't do that as often. When they do it, nothing usually happens, or they wait to play the music until boom, scares in your face, and then the
Oh yeah, I hate that.
That was a terrible version of
Actually,
that.
no, it was pretty good.
Was it?
Yeah. So versus if you tell people to relax, then you can keep the control timing of the scare, and then you catch them off guard. So
I think that might be my favorite part is the fact that the ambient has a heartbeat on the track that plays at 60 BPM beats per minute. I'm a music guy, so BPM just makes sense to me.
No, people say that.
So yeah, the heart rate that you hear doesn't change. It's 60 consistently. There's no fluctuation up or down.
No, but each group gets a different ending.
Yes.
Or a different experience because you played around with a ton of finale sounds.
Yeah, there are 20 finale sounds total, and they're all completely mixed separately.
Yeah.
They're all edited separately.
So if you go in it twice, back to back or whatever, you're not going to get the same ending.
You really shouldn't.
And if you do,
let me know.
Yeah, exactly, because we need to change
I need to fix it.
Yeah, and it's like the audio is heavily layered.
The ambient audio,
The ambient, yeah.
But it's not like
it's not
everything happening all at once.
No.
It's more of like, so I'm going to try to remember some of the layers. So there's the steady heartbeat, which is so I wanted to make this a very equalized audio. So on the lower portion, you have the heavy heartbeat. On the higher portion, you have the beep, beep, beep that you would hear on a heart rate monitor. So you've got the low, you've got the high, and then all it was really missing from there was the mid. So underlying across the whole bit, there's some white noise. That's to kind of help keep the bar playlist out, since you're literally 5 feet away from the bar and about 4 feet away from one of the speakers in the bar.
Right.
So white noise as a bottom layer, very low volume, low heartbeat, high beeping from the heart rate monitor. And all these sounds were from Envato, Envato. We'll put a link to them. Gainesville Fear Garden has a subscription, so it's all things that they're able to put into commercial processes. They pay the licensing fees and all that. And then from that same site, I also took sound bites of respirators, ventilators, what are the things that IVs go through in hospitals? Whatever those machines are. I took some of the error sounds from those where they do the alarms or the
Which
error
nobody
warning.
likes, especially if you've been in a
hospital
for so long. And it's all you hear. It's like
you go right back to the time where you were either visiting somebody or staying in the hospital yourself. They're not pleasant memories usually.
No.
And then there are also code blue coming over the speaker from the front desk person. There's one that's really funny to me, and it's something about pharmacy, your pizza's ready. At the cafeteria, pharmacy, your pizza's ready. And I almost cut it. And then I thought, this ambient track is a half hour long. Actually, no, it's 45 minutes long. So the chances that somebody's going to hear that twice is going to be super rare. And when I hear it, I'm going to get a chuckle out of it. And if somebody hears it, hopefully they get a chuckle out of it too. Because that was a very deliberate thing to keep in there. So it's not a very busy audio. Like, not all these things are happening at the same time. It's 45 minutes long. All of these sounds are cut up, and it sounds like you're in a hospital room, listening to the hallways, listening to the nurses walking around, listening
Yeah.
to the nurses talk to you outside the hallway.
Yeah.
It's very realistic in my opinion. And yes, I'm biased because I combined all these tracks and all these layers, and it
You
was
worked
so
really
much
hard.
fun.
You did.
I had such a headache at the end of it, but it was
I
so much
know.
fun.
Worth it. Yeah, and so the whole I've always wanted it to be an escape room.
I know.
And eventually we'll get there. Somebody will listen to me. AKA Ken.
It's not just Ken shooting down
No,
the
I
escape
know, I
room.
know, I know. But it like and
And
it's
we have a plan for another escape room.
we do.
We just have to
Fidget.
finance it.
Oh, that too. So it still has the original like concept based around the superstitious behaviors and the escape kind of.
It's actually
You have
more
to.
escape room
It
friendly
is.
now
I
because
know.
we don't control we don't control all of the audio and the effects
No.
anymore.
No.
If you want to get to the final room, you have to do it.
Right.
Like the audio tells you there are now 3 keys. They are on your left side.
Yeah.
They say left side like 3 or 4 times because again, people don't listen.
No.
And
I don't think it's that they don't listen. I think they're just so overwhelmed
that's
with
true.
what's in that room
Probably.
that it's like
Because there are buttons everywhere. Still,
it's a lot. And you're blindfolded.
Right. And the keys are not like
No, you need
eye
to.
level or chest level.
No.
Somewhere very low to the ground.
Nobody wants to bend down.
Right. So something we are changing is I've ordered 3 large knobs, the same ones that are on the door.
Yes.
And those are going to be the keys. So they're not necessarily keys, they are switches. Switches or levers. But either way, you should be able to find them much easier. And they're mounted as
Hopefully.
like big pucks on the wall. So we'll
Can't miss
find
it.
out if that actually works. So
Right.
TBD, they come sometime this week. If I have time to get them up by Wednesday night, we're open this week. Then we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
But yeah, so now it's kind of a hospital theme.
Yeah, which I like. I mean.
Yeah, you've got to pick somebody to sit in a gurney,
Yeah.
which
I think it's so
again,
funny.
nobody thought the gurney would fit. And who made it happen? Kimberly,
You know what's
which is
funny?
my favorite nickname for him.
You know what's funny? How they could actually. Well, I don't know, but
What?
it's interesting to see who gets on the gurney
Oh,
in
it
a
is.
group.
And we have a camera in there.
Yeah.
So we actually get to watch each and every group to make an account for how compliant are people
Right.
in this.
Right, and we always like guess who's gonna be put on the gurney,
Yes.
and it's usually always the man if they're like on a
It's-
date.
Sometimes it's really surprising. If they're on a
Yeah.
date, then yeah.
Yeah, but I don't know. I love that part.
Do
I
you
think it's so funny.
remember who came up with the original concept of making it a medical thing and making it like a hospital-ish environment when we redid it?
Was it?
I think I told you. I think you were there, but I don't remember.
Yeah, I think I was there. Was it? What's her name? Oh my God! Please don't feel bad. I really have no memory.
You don't remember anybody's name?
Jane.
Yes.
Yes, it was Jane.
Yeah, it was.
Okay.
So big props to her.
Yeah.
Great idea. I love that the gurney's in there to fit that. I don't know how we would have done as realistic. Like, I don't think we would have gotten the big finale scare if we'd have just put like a phlebotomist chair in there.
Right.
But speaking of the phlebotomist chair, there's also now a photo op on the front of the shed where you can sit in it and look like your brains got blown out
Yeah.
and blood is all on the wall behind you, which pains me just a little bit because the facade was very clean,
Oh, it's fine. It's not a
but
big
it
deal.
looks really cool.
It does.
So I'm in favor of it now.
Yeah. So that's where we are with private experiments. And fun fact, what is the highest rate we've seen so far on a heart rate monitor?
I don't remember exactly what it was, but I know it was in the 190s, which, quoting Garrett, was, I didn't even think these would reach that high, which is
Okay.
a very appropriate response.
If my heart rate got up to 190, I
You'd
would
go
be
to the
like,
hospital.
well, right now, yeah. But I would be like, oh my God, like, they
Yeah.
must have like a,
And
I
it
mean,
wasn't
everybody has a
consistently
different,
190, but it
no,
was a clear visual spike. Hey, you topped out at 190-ish. Are you okay?
right,
Do you
like,
need to sit down
sit
for a
down, do you need
second?
some water? Like,
From what I remember, they weren't drunk. They were very coherent. They
yeah,
thought, I feel normal,
yeah.
but exponentially high.
But you know
Like,
what's funny? A lot of people don't actually know their base heart rate.
yeah.
If you don't wear an Apple Watch or
I
whatever,
do wear an Apple Watch, and I don't know what mine is. I think it's like
yours is
high
in the
50s.
yours is in the 60s.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mine's typically in the runs from the
90s.
80s and yeah, it runs
Really?
high. Yeah,
I know
80s and
mine used to be a
90s.
lot lower resting heart rate when I was working out more, but
And then my resting heart rate right now is probably like in the hundreds because I'm pregnant and I can't breathe.
yeah. And
So,
Salem's heartbeat is 130 now ish, 130,
it
140.
should
It's
be,
lower,
yeah, it should be like 130 or lower.
130 or lower.
Yeah.
Okay. I know it
So,
was higher when you first got pregnant, when they could
yes.
feel the heartbeat.
She was about 160. That's when we were like,
That's
ooh, I think it's a
crazy.
girl. Yeah.
That's nuts.
Yeah. So,
So yeah, I feel like having a 190 heart rate in there, that's pretty impressive. I feel like that means we did something right in round
maybe,
two.
but also you should probably go to the doctors to make sure that your resting heart rate isn't like, I don't know, 120.
Maybe.
That's kind of
that's a
concerning,
them
actually, but
question to figure out.
yeah. Well, at least they know now. Okay.
Yeah.
So, lastly, I think,
What? I don't. I don't know what you tried to whisper to me, but
well, this is a really long episode for one.
yeah. Well, this is. I could talk about Gainesville Fear Garden and private experiments all day long. So.
Okay, so the next topic I'll talk about, and then you can talk about the next topic. Sound
Oh,
sound
perfect.
good?
So you'll take a topic, and then I'll take a topic.
Yeah, it's just, but we don't normally have 5 topics, but
Who keeps count of the topics?
me.
All right. So what's
I
next?
do the notes. So next we're gonna talk about.
Extra. Read all about it.
Excuse me.
Jeez Louise.
Our extras. So merch, bar, movies, games, and
Oddities Market.
Pinch poke, you owe me.
Jeez Louise. All that heavy breathing over there.
You owe me Coke.
Okay.
Okay. So merch. So they have T-shirts available, sweatshirts, a new lewd horror prop.
Yep. I don't think you should give any more context.
Yeah, let's just
If
keep
you
it
want
at
it, I think it's $6.
that. Yeah.
Go pick one up.
Yeah. Stickers, which we kind of give away to
Oh
everybody.
yeah,
really.
you get stickers whenever you go to the private experiments. You get a Monterey Mixcraft one and the Gainesville Fear Garden one, and a light up glow stick
Yeah,
bracelet.
you get a glow stick.
Yeah.
And we also have for sale, or they also have for sale, collectible color changing cup, which they've had the past few years.
Yeah, so they've
And-
had green and red or pink. And then this year they have blue
Yeah.
with gray writing. And I have a theory that the gray font on there and for like the image is going to scratch less easy than previous years when
I
it was
agree.
black. I think it's
Yeah.
going to be a lot more durable.
I like it a lot better.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it looks super cool with the blue.
And then we will have merchandise next year. So we ordered more business cards and shirts.
And the business cards don't say Home Haunt anymore.
Nope.
They say Partners of Gainesville Fear Garden.
Yeah, which is exciting.
Yes, it's weird that we actually have our LLC.
Yeah.
It's weird that we're actually getting an income from it, from the
Yeah.
ticket sales of
It's pretty cool.
the private experiments. So
Mm-hmm.
if you do the main haunt, please go through private experiments.
Yeah.
That's what we actually get paid for.
It's only
We'll contribute
$6.
to everything Fear Garden does, both in time as well as financially. But our little kickback is private experiments until we are able to invest a little more.
Yeah. So at the bar, the menu changes pretty frequently, but it's mostly cocktails, mocktails, and sodas. And we have free water there as
Yep.
well.
You can also buy bottled water,
Oh, true.
depending
Yeah,
on
if you don't like.
whether they have it available that night.
Yeah, that's true. And then there are also, I forgot to put on here, white chocolate candy teeth.
Yeah.
So they bought a bunch of those
From
at
Transworld.
Transworld.
And finally got
they're-
them in.
Yeah, so those are really good.
Very, very good. And the movies change frequently. I don't want to give it away which movies they've played, but they're always very Halloween horror-esque.
Yep.
And they previously did kind of silent disco headphones that you could watch it at the bar. A lot of people didn't actually participate, so now they just play the movies, same or still on the projector, but now they've got subtitles.
Yeah, it's like a
And
silent movie.
sometimes they even have two movies playing, one on the projector and one on a separate TV closer to the bar. So, whichever strikes your fancy more.
Yeah.
And the games are really
Games
cool.
are cool. They're Halloween-themed board games and card games. Specifically one that's called Goth Who, which is
And they created that from scratch. I think I don't think they fully came up with the idea themselves.
No.
But they did come up with all the characters and kind of made it their own version.
Yeah, so it's Guess Who, but with goth characters, I guess.
So there's like Dracula.
And we helped put those together, by the way,
Gosh,
so
what are the
it
other
took a long time.
characters? I can't think of any of the other characters now.
Besides Dracula,
Edward Scissorhands,
Yeah.
Beetlejuice.
Beetlejuice, yeah.
Any
Wednesday
like black
Addams.
and white. Yeah.
Yeah.
Any like black and white iconic horror characters. Benicula. Benicula's on there.
It's a fun game.
Yes.
Yeah. Which we see a lot of people playing, and I think it's so cute.
We play it probably every other time we go, it seems like.
Yeah. And then Oddities Market. So this is new. We've
best
had
ever.
how many? Like 3 or 4?
Started in July. So July, August, September, and October's has already passed.
Yeah.
But November, we've got another one.
Yeah.
So
So
4 months so far.
they're the same people that do like Ocala, Oddities Markets, Avernus.
Yeah.
They're
There's
just
a big,
it's a
huge group of it.
So we do it once per month at the on site at Gainesville Fear Garden. There's tons of vendors. Sometimes they're the same vendors. Sometimes there's new vendors. They sell anything from horror props, oddities to jewelry. I've gotten some really cute earrings.
And the food truck is
oh, yeah.
barbecue. It is so good. The brisket,
I wanted to put their name on there, but I don't
I can't
remember what
remember
it
it
is.
either.
But they're so
their
good.
brisket is phenomenal. Their nachos are huge,
Oh,
absolutely shareable. The mac and cheese
Oh
is
my
not
God.
normal mac and cheese. I don't know what's different about it, but it tastes so good. Their coleslaw,
The best thing are
Incredible.
their beans.
really?
Yes, I freaking love their beans.
Huh. I don't normally like not
It's pork beans.
pork beans. I was going to say refried beans. I was like, that's
Ew,
not it. I
no,
know
no, that's
not.
Chinese. I mean, that's Mexican, not Chinese.
Jeez.
Anyways.
So yeah, phenomenal food truck, and they are fast.
Oh, yeah, they are.
Like, yeah.
Because they have it all pretty much ready, and then they just, put it all together. But, and the bar and the haunted house are open during the markets.
Yep. So is Private Experiments.
And private experiments. So that's how
And
we
the movies on the wall.
Yep. So it's all like a big thing, and you
It's
can
like a
spend.
big amusement park in a way.
Yeah, basically. So
Yeah.
yeah, super fun.
Yeah.
I love Oddities Markets nights. It's really
Yes,
fun.
they're super busy.
Yes.
But
Lots of people.
sometimes they have free emo karaoke.
Oh yeah.
Also super fun when they do that. They've
Mm-hmm.
had costume contests, like vampire masquerade things, all sorts of cool stuff.
And
They-
that'll continue after.
Yeah, I think it will. I think they're going to continue on a monthly basis with different
Yeah,
themes.
but whether we open or not, I don't know for sure yet.
I would venture to say if Oddities Market is there and the bar is open, Private Experiments will be open unless we're retheming it for a specific event.
Right.
But I would imagine we would just coordinate that to make sure
Mm-hmm.
we are open on Oddities nights because that's a huge crowd we would want to draw in.
Yeah. The haunted house, on the other hand, no, probably not, because
I'm sure we'll do something on a smaller scale, but
on
you're
a
right.
smaller
It
scale,
probably won't be
yeah,
a full.
no, because then we need to start.
We need to start Christmas.
Yeah, we need
We
to
need
start
to start
retheming and stuff.
Valentine's. We need to start
Yeah. So
Easter, all of it.
Mm-hmm.
And also next Halloween before July.
yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
that was a very stressful timeline this year.
Yeah.
but
Good
we
luck
worked.
with a baby.
Yep. Don't know how haunting is going to factor in with a new lifestyle like that, but
No, but baby comes first, obviously, and then business comes second.
yeah.
So, all right.
Now the fun topic, as if all the others weren't fun, which they were.
This is not a fun topic for me.
So because we're more behind the scenes, I can talk a little bit more knowledgeably about some of the effects, the lighting, all of that jazz. So their ticketing system, if you buy online, they use Zola, which is Xola. If you buy on site at the bar, ticketing, anything like that, then you are purchasing through their Clover system. Both of those have fees. I didn't look them up. I don't know that many people care, but I do know that people have been raving about the Clover system. We just got tattoos the other day, and they were talking about they've previously used the Clover system and are saving up after tax time to reinvest into a Clover system now that they're in a new LLC, a new business, and moving locations.
Yeah.
In the haunt,
Oops, sorry.
there are a couple of different effects and a couple of different audio visual things I wanted to talk about. So at the beginning, in onboarding inside, there are 3 Sprite 4K triggerable video players. They come with the connector to wire your own trigger. There is an HDMI output to put on a TV. There's the I/O output for the trigger itself, and then there's an AV output in case you wanted to run audio out of that. They start at about $155. You can buy them on Fright Props and also Amazon. Sometimes they have a pretty long lead time, just depending on how many people are buying them, just basic kind of supply and demand. But they do go out of stock pretty regularly. They're a great product to have, very diverse in their capabilities, so they're very easy to use as well. Along with that Sprite 4K triggerable video players, we use 3 different channels. So they've got 3 of those video players, and they have silent sound system 3-channel transmitters. So they have one of those on each Sprite box so that you actually can wear headphones throughout the haunt, so they don't have to run all of the speakers in every single area and have that sound bleed through the different parts. So this makes it a little more controlled. That system is on Amazon, and it is $1,500. And all that is for 3 transmitters and 25 headphones. So I think they have that as well as several more headphones. I think they have more than 25. I think they're close to like 40, maybe 50.
There's a lot of headphones.
Yeah. So really cool system though. I wish we had few more channels that we could run private experiments with it, but that's all right. Not the end of the world. We finally got to use an ankle blaster, which is kind of it's a pneumatic effect. It's basically an air tank, usually 5-gallon is the most portable ones, and you fill it up with air, and then you have a little solenoid on the end of it, and it just goes psh, real quick. It just releases all the air in the tank, or as much as you can, as long as the solenoid is opened. If you want to buy your own fully complete system, it's about $260 from Fright Props. Or you can contact me, and I can tell you all of the items to buy, and that will cost you about $97 to buy all the items. It's pretty easy to put together. I could just send you the same list that I made. So $97, do it yourself, or almost 3 times that cost buying it from Fright Props. They save you the labor, but that's half the fun in my opinion. Their statue scare costumes and a lot of their body parts came from Chaos Effects. They're relatively new, but they are phenomenal quality props. They were at Trans World. Can't speak highly enough of them. Love all their props. They've got several of them now. The handheld clown horn from Gearheads Unlimited LLC. We talked about that at the Fear Reach Scream Park episode. You can get those anywhere from $120 up to $330. They use generic, portable chargers for power tools. So they've got a few different options there. We used some of Fright Prop's screen boxes. So the ones we use are the Mega Screen boxes. They're about $200, and they're 100-watt built-in speakers, and you can trigger them directly on it. You don't need a separate controller. But they also have a smaller version as low as $40, and they're static micro screen boxes. They're very, very tiny. I couldn't get the wattage on there. I just couldn't find it on their website. I also didn't look very hard. um, and then the Grave Rave animation is probably what I am most proud of
Mm-hmm.
in all of the animation and programming and effects, because we used a Boobox Flex, which has DMX capability. It starts off at about $239 from Fright Props. It's just the controller. We can put up to 8 uh, outputs on that. So what we did, instead of having the DC outputs or the relay outputs, we actually put an 8-channel AC relay pack add-on. It's about $80. It has a little extension cable. You can get it in 12 volt or 24 volt, depending on your controller. And then to program it, you can either use the Scaremaster like analog controller, which is about $240 just for that, and that's just to program it. So
Mm-hmm.
once you're programmed, you don't have to keep that on there. But a free option is Fright Props gives away their director software. You can download it on any PC. It doesn't work on Mac currently, but you can go in and just kind of highlight, almost like if you're editing audio or if you've ever edited audio or slideshows or anything like that. It's really simple and intuitive to navigate. So I highly recommend Director software. Now that we started using it this year, Katie and I, we fly through it. It's so much fun for both of us to do. At least we think so. It makes it very easy to see. You don't have to keep replaying it. You can go, all right, I know this audio point. I want this effect to start and then cut out and strobe or whatever. And you can make all that happen. Um, Among that 8-channel AC relay pack, we have controlled strobe lights, black lights. They are all matching the audio. So when it's an upbeat, we have an effect. When it's a downbeat, all of that lighting matches just like you would see at a concert. It was all custom done, so it wasn't an automatic thing. Uh, but again, that was also really fun. Custom audio from the Mel voice incorporated now, so you hear that kind of uh, that manipulation and kind of downtrod nature of Mel as it progresses, losing control, freaking out, begging for her life, things like that. What else? Oh, private experiments. Some of the tech in there. We use a Boobox Flex, Boo Tunes, as well as a Boobox Flex 2. We can control the 12 volt strobe lights, transducers, or butt kickers on the wall so the whole facade shakes now, which is very intense, very loud, very effective. We have a pneumatic solenoid for a door knocker, as well as the narrative audio track is triggered from there, and the finale sound effect is on a completely separate speaker. So in that room, we have the ambient on its own track in separate speakers. We have the finale sound on its own speaker in its own amp, and then we also have the narrative on a third completely separate audio system, all triggered by this one kind of wiring diagram setup. And what makes that impactful is with a lot of the Fright Props controllers, you have the ambient you can load, and then it cuts off whenever you trigger it. And it's very strange to me. I don't like hearing the ambient audio, playing melody and then silence, and then the big jump scare.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, it's worth having multiple speakers and amps all kind of overlapped. And as long as you're adjusting the volume accordingly to where when you have your finale, it's bright, it's loud, it's in your face, you can still have the ambient playing as long as it's not distracting. So the ambient really is just what you would hear in a normal environment. It's not over stimulating, it's not anything like that. It's just meant to give you the immersive experience of, oh, I'm in a garden, I'm in a hospital, I'm in a shed. You shouldn't hear random things that you wouldn't actually hear. The ambient isn't meant to be intense. It's
Mm-hmm.
the background noise. If you
Right.
don't hear it, you should still you should be able to get the same thing from the visual. We're just going all in and giving you that audio cue as well.
Mm-hmm.
And having the finale separated from the narrative soundtrack also lets you control the finale volume to really bust in without compromising having all the low end, all the high end, making the narrative clear to hear. So there's a lot going on in that room. A lot of different audio, a lot of different speakers and amps, a lot of effects, and it's all housed behind the gurney in the final room.
Yeah.
Well worth it. Very complicated wiring diagram. I'm really proud of us for being able to pull it off with only minimal tweaks. Yeah, that was a lot. I'm sorry.
That was it?
I mean, we talked about the keys.
Yeah.
We've talked about the maglock. So now the maglock is in the guest's hands. Like, you have full control over unlocking the maglock in the blindfolded portion. If you get the keys, great. You can push the door open. If you don't get the key, we have to come behind you and go, hey, this is how we can kind of help you navigate and find the key. Until you do it, I can't open the door. Like, I don't have an override switch from out here because it's such a small space.
Yeah, that's a problem.
So, it's interesting, but if you go through it, look for large rotating switches. Please. And if you have any issues, just yell out help. We will hear you, I think.
Hopefully.
All right, and that's that's all I've got for the tech. If anybody has any questions, feel free to reach out because I can talk tech all day long for Haunted House stuff.
And I could not listen to you talk about tech all
No,
day.
I know. You could not care any less
right now. I mean, not right. I mean, yeah, I just... Tech isn't my part.
Would you rather answer trivia questions?
Yes, so we have...
Okay.
We have like 3 minutes.
Well,
Go.
I have 5 questions.
Okay.
What was the name for the company running the experiment in year 1?
Oh my god. Oh, Kojo Biotech?
Yeah, good job. All right, same question for this year. What's the company behind Mel?
Qualicore?
Qualiacore
Systems.
Yep, Qualiacore Systems. Good job. All right. What does MEL stand for?
Oh god. Oh my gosh.
5.
I don't know.
4. 3. All right. Metacognitive entropy loop.
Yeah, I would have never guessed that.
That's right. All right. Third question, trying to go. What's the maximum group size for private experiments?
3.
Yes. What about for the main haunt?
13.
Perfect. What did the initial antagonist group PACT, P-A-C-T, stand for?
People
Uh-huh.
against
Uh-huh.
control.
Nope.
Oh. People against cognitive
Yep.
trials.
Technology. So close. All right. Last question.
Okay.
My first experience with ChatGPT was during the planning for this event. What does ChatGPT stand for? I didn't know this until I looked it up today, so...
Chat GPT.
Yeah, so chat is just chat. But what does the GPT stand for?
Oh my god. I don't know.
Anybody listening that knows this? Nerd alert.
No, I literally have no idea.
Generative pre-trained transformer.
Would have never.
So you put in what you're wanting, your blah blah blah. I want a picture of muffins in a witch's mouth and she's got a green cigarette. Boom. It generates this thing that it has been trained to do, and it forms it into a coherent picture.
I can't with AI. I don't like ChatGPT. I've never used it. I don't think I ever will.
I have in very small doses. I don't think I'm smart enough to use it, is my stance on it.
Yeah.
Everybody tells me how simple it is, and I don't know.
Yeah.
I can't even get my own brain to do what I want it to do, much less try to tell the computers to do something.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
Yes.
That's it.
So
Go to Gainesville Fear Garden.
Yeah.
Go to Private Experiments. Go to the Oddities Market. Come hang out. Just give it a shot. Tell your friends.
Yep. Until November 2nd. November 1st? November 2nd.
Could not tell you.
I think it's the second. Yeah. So, all right, guys. Thanks for listening, and we appreciate your feedback. And like, share, subscribe. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.